on Shadic in the history, but it's also been quite a bit since they played. Yeah. So I'm very curious to see how things have evolved for these two.
I think a big difference now is Shadic has proven that he can win. Like, he has won multiple regionals. He has been able to perform out of region now. So there's a new level of confidence to him. But that still comes with the fact that MuteAce has done this for a while and understands how to play around that. And Mute is going to understand how to avoid all of these big combo starters that Corrin has and punish it tremendously, like so, all the way to 80%.
My goodness, and MuteAce actually high profiling the down tilt, knowing that might come out. Saturn's back. Oh,
Mute. Okay.
We know what's going to happen right now,
So we know that DreamHack is out here for the repeat because we saw so many off the start with the other game, and we're already starting off with Mr. Saturn here.
He's actually blessed today, but Shadic, even despite that, will fight against the odds with the Corrin, continuing this juggle, and Mute has lost his float. He needs to go all the way off stage, and that makes for an easy edge guard for Shadic, who takes the lead in the first game.
That's a confident back air, too, because you can trade there and have to tech. And Shadic understood, well, I'll trade, but I know I'm making it back. Now forcing, using the aggressive options twice to beat out the turnip, where normally that is something that most people will panic on because they have to use a jump resource. Shadic understanding very well what to do in that situation.
It's not like he hasn't played this matchup before, right? He has seen how the Peaches will behave off stage as MuteAce does get that first stock. I mean, Shadic has experience not just against Mute, there's also Oryx in Texas, who is a phenomenal Peach and actually plays very similar to MuteAce in a lot of ways, and you can definitely see that Shadic is used to knowing, right, these are the ranges that I can't push for, and I need to wait for him to give me a commit if I want to get closer.
Yeah, and I like how MuteAce is kind of playing around the, if you want to play that range game with me, I'm going to freely pull my turnip. Now my neutral is better than yours. I have a much better approach tool, which every time we see the turnip come up, that's when Mute will hold forward. But every time Shadic tries to camp, hoping for Mute to overcommit, Mute's not doing it.
And look at that, even just holding onto this turnip but rolling right into the nair because he's got that turnip in his hand. His boxing options are reduced. Now that goes doubly for Shadic as they're literally just having a game of catch. Come here, son.
I mean, you kind of have to, right? Like, for Shadic, if you rush recklessly, you're going to take not only the turnip, but a down tilt and too much damage that you don't want. So Shadic playing very well, because I think he just understands Mute is perfectly content with playing the clock in his matchup. You have to wait for Mute to make that one mistake, but Shadic's reward on hit has been so good that the advantage is going to work regardless.
Now he's all the way into the corner, and Mute with great patience does throw out that forward air to cover any advances. Ledge trapping has always been one of those things that Mute's so good at, and he even baits out with the tomahawk to get that grab. Shadic stuck in the ledge again, but great burst movement back to center stage.
Yeah, super quick, not even trying to respect the ledge trap right there, but forced to have to fade back and using the stall just to wait a little bit longer. Falling up air is not going to be enough. Going to look for maybe a back air off of something here, but the turn up forces Shadic to have to back off, and that gave Mute a much safer return to ledge.
And Mute is just so good at reacting to when you put up your shield and knowing this is a time for me to empty land and get my grab. Forward air is not quite safe enough on shield to prevent a hit back from Shadic, but DIY does keep Mute holding on to this second stock, but it's anybody's guess as to who gets this next one.
Yeah, just missing out on the sweet spot there on that side B. Anything at this point will kill, but giving up stage position now, trying to go off looking for the kick, when MuteAce actually wasn't able to capitalize. Look at this defense from Shadic on the ledge too.
These two have been so phenomenal playing out of the corner against two players and two people that are amazing at capitalizing on those situations. I mean, these guys have barely gotten hit in the past minute and a half, and that will finally be the stock with the up throw. But that was just immaculately played for like 2 straight minutes.
The crazy part about that, with that 2 straight minutes, was it's not like they weren't trying to fight. It was just nobody could guess correctly. The defense was so good that they kept dodging, but now for Shadic, you absolutely keep doing this. You're on borrowed time with this 156. You are forcing Mute's hand to try and beat you out right now, and sure, you get a trade, but 92%, it's been all Shadic.
Well, and he has forced his hand for sure right now. Pin doesn't tip her, but MuteAce is all the way at 114 after the magnifying glass damage. He does fight his way back on stage, but we've talked about this before. Peach isn't exactly a comeback character. Amazing tech by Shadic.
I have to talk about that really fast. Even though Shadic died, I was about to compliment how MuteAce is one of the best in the business at forcing you to lose all of your ledge invincibility at high percents. Shadic intentionally took the hit to snag the turnip to tech off and have a better approach off stage. It doesn't matter though, because you're still able to close the entire game out even after Mute got him with that. And Shadic working very, very hard hard to get that first game, but takes it nonetheless, and that's going to matter because I think this is going to come down to endurance in the set.
And honestly, you can already see it, right? Shadic is not trying to get pumped up. He's trying to keep that mental strong and composed and not take himself out of the zone that he's in right now, whereas Mute, a little bit frustrated with how that game ended. He fought so hard to stay into it, but Shadic got so much damage per hit. Felt very difficult for MuteAce to fight this back, and he is smart enough to turn on the Tekken music on the SCC stream.
Thank you very much for putting it out. So thank you, and we appreciate you for putting on the good music. We're getting into game number 2 here. MuteAce definitely trying to get amped up. This is something we've seen quite a bit. Usually when a game loss happens, we'll see the music counterpick to get that motivation going. And Mute is one of the most difficult people to continue to steamroll any momentum you have. Even if you won that last game, Mute is going to play exactly the same. However, great option coverage right now coming in from Shadic going to 41, answered right back.
Shadic has been reacting so well to any time that Mute drifts into his bubble, right? That area where Corrin can control and recognizing, right, the right button to press. So he's a little bit behind me, time for nair. He's above and behind me, time for back air. Any time that he has an opportunity to build on that damage, Shadic is just snapped to react to it.
Yeah, and now Shadic finding the opener with the forward air into Bear, looking for a coverage off stage and a little bit out of position. You can't really challenge that right there. You can put shield up way faster, so good job not just trying to swing on it. That would have been a free grab from you.
He comes down with the back air, does put Shadic at the ledge, but honestly, even though Mute's gotten him to the ledge a lot of times, hasn't gotten big capitalizations off of the ledge traps, right? Even though he got that forward air, it didn't kill.
Finally finds back air to connect on a rare mistake so far from Shadic, but this has been a test. This has been a real test for both to see who has the better ledge traps. And at first I thought this game might come down to Mute's ability to edgeguard and ledge trap. It's actually looking like it's going to come down to Mute's ability to win on the anti-air game, because you can't kill him on the ledge majority of the time. He works so hard to finally get it.
Oh my, how did he avoid that chomp? The big bite not quite taking a bite out of Peach there. Mute, once again, right back to keeping the Corrin in the corner, drifting back. Look at how Shadic fights for center stage. That was just so beautiful.
Amazing discipline. Just amazing discipline from this kid right now. But MuteAce holding on to this stock for quite some time, though. 136, even though you haven't got a lot of damage on Shadic, you were able to work it for a while, but Shadic finally finds the mistake and catches the pin.
And all things considered, this game's pretty even because one little combo starter from Shadic and damage will climb. As much as Mute was able to play with the lead, we are right back into things here with a juggle that Shadic just never dropped any of those in that game 1, and it doesn't look like that's changed here in game 2.
It's not even all true combos. It's just resets into resets. His ability to keep the damage going is so good. And now we're here at an opportunity for, actually, Winky Face as well. If that hits right now, it'll send him far enough away, but it did not connect. And now Shadic, once again, boxing his way out of the corner. At least he got set to the right, though. But MuteAce finally finds the jump, and this could lead to a stock.
One after another, and that time tossed him to the right because it hit the back of that Corrin head. So forced to tech, there was none. MuteAce does finally get to play with the lead, and Shadic is going to have to deal with a slowed down game now as he doesn't have a jump.
Yeah, he's very lucky that Mute did not connect on the follow-up there, but Mute taking full advantage now is a big opportunity here, forces the jump and holding shield because there's been quite a few times where Shadic's been pretty aggressive there.
And this is the kind of exact reverse of what we saw in the game 1 where Shadic was playing with, even game up until the second stocks and then just started running away with it. It's the exact same for MuteAce now, and Shadic has got to be feeling the pressure as that turn-up will bonk him into game 3 with the set tied up 1-1. MuteAce turning it around beautifully.
I'm very glad that Mute proved me wrong. I was worried at one point at the beginning. I was mentioning how I think that Mute might have to just play center stage anti-air game and hope to win that way. Mute finally found the crack in the armor, was able to get some edge guards with the turnips, and that is going to be crucial because that's your biggest win condition in this matchup.
And I don't know, when it comes down to win conditions too, sometimes you can just kind of bully your way into them, right? With a lot of other characters, but Peach and Corrin are both kind of slow, and these are both guys that are very intelligent, and they're very good at figuring out how to adjust their game plans, particularly where they're getting beat, not just how to beat their opponent. And so the things that are working for you in one game suddenly won't work in the next, and it's just fascinating to see the back and forth where they're not going so quickly that you can't really keep up with the decisions that they're making. You can see MuteAce, the gears turning and saying, I'm getting beaten for, Shadic's figured out that I've got a habit or a timing here that I've got to change. And the same goes on the other end.
Yeah, and it's so important because in the air-to-air game, body loses the sword. It's just the way it is. But so the fact that you have to force a more grounded style gameplay where Peach is normally pretty easily able to cover downers on shield, pressure people, use forward air, and space people out, much like right there, you have to respect the fact that Corrin can beat that out with good spacing. And it seems like MuteAce is starting to figure that out as the set has gone on.
We go into Game 3 on Battlefield, which can give Corrin a very big advantage on those juggles that Shadic has been so good at over the course of this set. But the important part is you have to actually get those started, and to do that, you have to be not at the ledge, where MuteAce has kept Shadic for a solid 30 seconds in climbing.
You gotta actually touch the ground to get something going here, and this could be a chance. Off the back door.
Ooh, saucy.
I like the idea. It didn't lead to anything, but Shadic, even after getting kind of just, oh, there we go, Winky Face, you're not making that up.
Yeah, the Winky Face actually does just a little bit more knockback than a standard turnip, and I think that was enough to actually guaranteed seal out that stock.
Yeah, you saw how close he was to that up B, that's almost making it back. If that was a standard one, probably would have been fine, but now Mute, only 63%, gets a falling up here, forces him to have to go low, and Mute's, I like how Mute is constantly holding shield now at ledge, because it takes away an aggressive pin or a rising fair, and you punish him out of shield.
Yeah, and it makes Shadic not be able to get like a big reward, right, out of anything like a reversal, which was so big for him in that game one. Now his options to get those openings, get those ledge traps himself, he's got to fight for them like head-to-head against Mute, and that is just a mountainous task. Up throw.
I kind of expected it too. I figured Mute would go for up throw, look for an air dodge maybe, or a panic option. Shadic doesn't do it too often, but there are times where Shadic will press an instant down air just to take a trade and get out of there.
Mute just drifting all the way away, but Shadic is never one to throw away his opportunities, making it back to the stage. He says, quit goofing around out there.
That's very confident. Like, actually, I'm gonna say, that's ballsy. Going on stage against Peach, one of the best reverse edge guard characters in the game. Shadic knows where that flow cannot win out against that back air.
Oh, great spacing there by Mute, though, drifting back to set up for the forward air, which also gives him the timing where it's that late hit that connects, gives him just those valuable extra frames to take up some more stage control. Then you're Shadic with a juggle. This is why he loves this stage.
Yep, all the mix-ups in the world, all the frame traps in the world come from resetting on those platforms. That's why I was surprised earlier when Shadic was still fighting on Kalos as long as he did. But here on Battlefield, so many different options. Shadic can get back into this with another neutral win. We're seeing he has woken up.
Oh, and he's looking for that back air afterwards, too, but he realized his drift was not on point. He didn't get the RAR that he needed, so instead he just went for the reset for the ledge trap. But because of that, MuteAce has got his opportunity to once again take a stock lead.
And holding the position at the side of the stage without drifting in, so Mute can't find the nair or the forward air. But Mute's probably looking for, was looking for the forward air right there, and holding in the weirdest DI in the world. That was a gift to Shadic.
Bad DI. Frankly, it's all it is, and we don't often see that from MuteAce, but he figured that he was going to have to be DIing for a back air. Instead, he caught the up air. An amazing mix-up there by Shadic, gives him the lead in a game that he has not had control in, but now we're even in the last stock.
Yeah, that was one of those that was one of those moments that might cost Mute this game, because even though we're here on last stock, and Mute only needs one down tilt to make this an even game, Shadic has been absolutely cruising with this advantage state. Look at how much damage he's getting, Kimona. Look at the ability that he's been able to control the pace of the game. However, he just gave up position. This is an opportunity for Mute.
Oh, and a down air to tap against those wings, but it's not enough to dump Shadic into that bottom blast zone, so the Corrin's going to get to maintain the lead. MuteAce barely able to find his way down to the ground, does open him up with the nair, but nothing big comes of it.
This is a chance right here. One back at the ledge, does take it out, but mixing it up, going for the neutral B. Nice idea, going instantly back to the stage 2 after faking the idea of going maybe for an up air, and just no matter what, any aerial trade works. So Mute is going to be playing grounded here.
Yeah, Shadic is just not allowing him to take to the skies, and that makes things a whole lot easier, a lot less stressful as a Corrin when you know what angle your opponent's going to be coming in from. But now at 95, Mute might be able to get something set up at the ledge at 109.
Mute has got him aggressively off stage and caught him with the turn up. We saw that earlier with the instant roar. You said it, you know that Mute will only go for that Toad when he 100% believes it's going to work, and he had the right read that Shadic would get aggressive there.
And honestly, you saw that eye roll from Shadic. I don't blame him at all, because you're like, at that moment.
Yeah.
You choose to go for it. When we've been playing a nice, honest, head-to-head game, no cheese, you go for the counter.
Yep, and he hadn't gone for that fair in a little while. So that's like one of the, like you said, like, come on. How did you guess that one time? Because the startup of up B from that position actually wouldn't have been caught by Toad right away. It might have still got caught by Toad on the late hit, but if it got hit at the right spot, he would have been sent towards the left and got attacked.
Do you see this outfit that MuteAce is rocking? He literally looks like he walked out of Samurai Showdown. I did not notice this top until now, and he's literally samurai'd up right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, that could explain why we had to take a little while to get to here, because there was a break for this, because Sam's show does take quite a bit of time to actually finish. Oh man, so we like Sam's show out here. It's a good opportunity to read a book. But but here
it's the baseball of fighting games.
It is, but it is. All jokes aside, it actually is the fundamental sound of neutral in that game, which. Perfect example is MuteAce. MuteAce's neutral game is so good, and the understanding of having to play as Peach, you get to play that grounded game, but with the float cancel aerials, so you get to play it low. Never really went for full hop stuff. Never really went for full hop fairs that forced Shadic to go for grounded approaches, and was able to abuse that and got Shadic off stage and got that game. Because that was. Even that game got close because of that bad DI second stock, and Shadic almost took advantage of it. But Mute was able to stop the bleeding and move to up 2-1 in the set.
And now we're going to see if he can close it out 3-1 or if Shadic has got a retort ready for him. Going to need to get 2 in a row, and he got a reverse 3-0 on Lima earlier. MuteAce is just a different monster, though, because you've gone from somebody who will make mistakes for you to somebody who is the exact antithesis of that kind of play style. MuteAce off to a hot start once again.
Now, one thing I feel like I have to bring back up is Shadic is starting to slowly become one of those Mr. Game 5s. We've seen so many times where Shadic has been put back against the wall and fights his way out. He gets the game 5 and then he wins it. So with this turn-up game, getting a decent amount of damage, MuteAce has to make sure he does not let him get any type of confidence the way that he was able to shut it down in that last game.
The first thing you have to do against Shadic is
land.
What is it that he, okay, yeah, first is to land. Second is to figure out, right, what is it that he likes doing? How is he feeling himself? How do I shut that down? Because otherwise, he is going to move all over you.
Yep, and most of it just comes off of a lot of resets. Well, Shadic has gotten straight hit into straight hit into straight hit, and he's gotten it right to 119 kill percent, but the aggressive fair now rewards Mute Ledge.
Ooh, and he does the turnip toss up to set up for the perfect timing where Shadic has to choose that get-up option right as the turnip is coming down, sets up for the other one, and then Mute is able to clean it up after that, get that first stop.
Like we said, one of the best at forcing you to have to make a decision when you're running out of ledge invincibility. And now you have to watch out for this edge guard. That Toad is not enough yet, but you're forced to go low. You take a backer. No, early up B stops it, but Mute recognizing that he had to tech, not giving that stock up.
Pattern recognition and just in-the-moment snap reflexes. Shadic showing it off right there with that side B, but both of these guys are some of the best at just pattern recognition, period. It's not that they just have the most insane reaction time, it's that they're able to anticipate what's going to come next based on the way you're moving, based on your percent, their percent, right? Everything that you're looking for, your win conditions, and it gives you that extra half a second to react and set yourself up.
I know that this game may not necessarily be the fastest paced thing that everybody was kind of used to seeing from some of the higher levels, but there is so much thought going behind each individual attempt at an opening. You can't rush, because if you do, Mute will cook you. If you jump too much, Corrin will body you. They are thinking so hard about what not to do so they don't make that mistake, and it is impressive nonetheless to see their defense after that, as we see another tech come through with Shadic, and now he finds the opening, but realizes there's not much he could do after that, so he looked for the reset on the back air.
And he has just not gotten the big damage off of each individual hit. Like you said, in this game, it's more just been stray hits every now and then that Shadic is getting, and he just has not been catching on to that defensive game from MuteAce, who has just been pouring on the damage. He is an absolute thunderstorm right now.
This is where you gotta take advantage of it too, where Shadic is forced to make something happen. He's gotta find an opener, and Mute is starting to win out anytime there is any end lag after an aerial. But there we go, fair, not gonna connect into the back air.
UTI down to make sure that the maximum amount of knockback that Shadic could get off of that meant that he would not be able to get that back air afterwards. Again, like you said, every single little bit of movement has some reasoning and decision behind it.
Yeah, like normally this game is a big game of complicated rock, paper, scissors, but this one feels so much more than that. Like you feel like you're trying to solve a Rubik's Cube every time you decide to approach. But now, catching with the pin, Mr. Game 5, this could still happen possibly here. 78%, we've seen Shadic go 0 to 90 unchecked. Mute has to be very careful.
He has to be careful, but he does know that Shadic's been dropping the combos, so will he stay a little bit more aggressive like he's been in this game forward drifting through, sets up for the back air. Shadic, I love the stall with the Dragon Fang shot, but the stitch at the very end. RNGesus comes through and lets MuteAce get the assured win, and he will move on to Grand Finals.
All right, everybody, together.